actually going to accomplish something this week. Believe it or not, we are. This week coming up, we will probably midweek, maybe Wednesday, I'm not sure, I don't know. We will pass the 300th video mark. Not of mine, not the 300th stream. I have no idea what number stream we're on. But there are 493 videos in this playlist for the O.J. Simpson trial. And we are going to pass video 300 this week. And remember, I looked. It looks like this half the videos, not all the videos are as long, I think, as the first half. So we are smoking. And I know for a fact that the speed is not where we want it to be. Because we are efficient on this channel. We are unmuted and we are efficient. And when I press play on this video, you're going to hear sound, believe it or not. Because I'm never going to do that again, I said. Now, my other live stream doesn't count. I just meant on here. Never going to do it again on here. Right, let's not get crazy. Let's not say I'm never going to do that again, ever, because I'm going to misplace my mute button or my video sound. But unfortunately, what we're looking at does not make me want to press play in the slightest bit. He is circling another damn paragraph in that autopsy report. If he's just going to circle all of the paragraphs, why bother circling the paragraphs at all? Just give him the autopsy report. The jury knows. I wonder if the jury is really going to sit there and reread the autopsy report when they go back there to deliberate. Why would they, though, when they've read it 17,000 times? And where's Richard? How comes Richard doesn't come in and say OJ's going to meet his baker right when I start? Why does he just come in sporadically? Richard, where are you? I don't want to press play. I don't want to see him do this. They did have PowerPoint in 1995, and they had the paperclip to help them. They had the paperclip that could have provided support, better support than Chat GPT, right? I missed that paperclip. Got me out of a lot of trouble often. Anyway, here we go. Are you sure, Malta? Prove it. I've never seen you and Richard in the same room at the same time.
G-55, INJ, number 6. Doctor, in your opinion, does that entry accurately describe that particular injury?
Yes.
And is it your opinion that Dr. Golden's opinion that this is a non-fatal stab wound is accurate?
Yes.
Now, where is the diagram?
It's diagram 22-2.
Where is the diagram, doctor?
Right here.
And what if if anything has Dr. Golden written concerning that particular injury?
It says stab wound right earlobe, 1.25 inches right to left depth, and he has described the 1-inch length and the forked ends, both ends, and he also indicates that the stab wound went from the ear to the temporal bone. So this whole description and this arrow here in the right side of the head would correspond to injury number 6 of G55.
Let me outline that area that you just pointed to, doctor.
Yes.
And up at the upper left-hand corner, I'll write G-55. And underneath that, INJ number 6.
Yes.
Doctor, does that accurately, in shorthand form, diagram and describe that particular injury?
Yes.
Anything further about that one?
No.
Doctor, are we done then with respect to all injuries on all of the photographs of our Exhibit 358, with the exception of the facial injuries as seen in photographs G55 and G50?
Yes.
Your Honor, I have another small board of photographs. May this be marked as Exhibit 360. It appears to have a title, Sharp Force Injuries and Blunt Force Trauma at the head of Mr. Goldman.
Yes.
And Doctor, on this particular exhibit, we have two photographs, one of which appears to have the
Richard, you
designation
are late,
G48,
sir.
and
You're
another that has the
late.
designation of G49.
I started
Can we
5
start
minutes and
with
48 seconds ago.
G49, the one to the right, and tell us what, if anything, of significance you see in that photograph?
G49 is the back of the head of Mr. Goldman and shows a superficial quarter-inch cut to the back of the head.
Now, where, first of all, using yourself, or actually, why don't you use me, would you point out where that area of the head is?
Somewhere here in this region.
Sorry. And the doctor is pointing to what feels like slightly to the left of the midline of my head, up near the top of my head.
Near the top of your head?
Well, at least it feels that way. I don't know, maybe I have a poor sense of time.
Looks towards the back of the head to me.
Okay. Doctor, where in relation, can you hold that pointer wherever you had it, and also point to the injury to the back of the head, or the head somewhere, that's seen in G40, injury number 3 at G40.
G40 injury is somewhere here. The G49 injury is somewhere here, this region.
And as long as we've got me in this position, do you see a second injury in G49?
Yes, you see it left of it and slightly to the front of it. In this region here, you have an abrasion contusion, which is a scrape.
And so those are the 3 injuries to the head in your review of the autopsy materials of Mr. Goldman that were identified?
Yes, you have a cut to the back side of the right side of the head, which we have discussed. A smaller cut now, which I just discussed here. And then you have an abrasion contusion to the left side of the head, which is actually seen better in G48.
Let's talk then first of all about the first injury that's seen in G49 as you've described it. A sharp force injury that you describe as a cut?
Yes,
The type of instrument to inflict that kind of injury?
it could be a single edge or a double edge knife.
And again, the hypothetical single edge, 6-inch long approximate blade, consistent with doing that?
Yeah, the tip of it.
Doctor, are you able to tell from that injury the relative positions of Mr. Goldman and the perpetrator at the time that injury was received?
No, I will not be able to do that.
Doctor, is it the same situation as you demonstrated with me regarding alternatives, for example, for the injury that's seen in G40 to the head?
That's correct.
Doctor, is this also an antemortem, that is before death injury,
Yes,
for the same reasons?
yes,
Did Dr. Golden address this in the protocol?
yes, he did.
Diagram it
Yes, he did.
in the addendum?
Yes. No, I didn't know.
Any reason it should be?
No need to be.
Doctor, the non-fatal, I gather.
Yes, non-fatal.
The other injury, can you give us an orientation, G48, what we're actually looking at there?
You're looking at the top of the left side of the head. You can see the nose here,
Okay, just stop if you would, please. The nose is where, Doctor?
here, in the lower part of the photograph here.
In the lower left corner, Your Honor, of the photograph, where the light color meets a border that appears to be a lightish blue color in the photograph?
Yes.
Then you can see the eyebrow here.
And the doctor has, with the pointer, made a horizontal tracing of a small area from the left margin of the skin towards the center of the skin area reflected or shown in that photograph.
You also see the hair in the top of the head falling on the forehead here.
And that area is where, in the photograph, in the lower part of the photograph, the hair seems to end over the skin area. Is that correct, Doctor?
Yes, and you can see the left earlobe here. I mean, not earlobe, portion of the upper part of the left ear on the right side of the photograph.
Left ear on the right side of the photograph?
That's correct.
And that is where the skin apparently comes photographically in contact with the hair below the injury that's shown in the center of the photograph. Is that correct?
Yes. And the injury is above the left ear, on the left side of the top of the head. And to show it in my head, it'll be somewhere in this region.
Again, on the left side, Your Honor, perhaps 4 inches above the top of the ear.
Yes.
Doctor, what kind of injury is that again?
That is a blunt force injury. It's an abrasion contusion. That is, you have a scrape and underlying bruising of the skin.
And do you have an opinion as to potential source or sources for that contusion abrasion?
It's a blunt force injury and could be from a rough surface. And there are several areas in the crime scene photograph which could account for that.
We may come back to that then when we look at the other blunt force trauma injuries. Again, Doctor, all of these injuries, or both of these injuries in 49 and the one in 48, are made apparent due to shaving, post-mortem shaving at the coroner's office?
Yes.
Doctor, would your answers about non-fatal, ante-mortem, be the same for this contusion abrasion as they've been for the sharp force injury number 1 of G49?
Yes.
Did Dr. Golden describe either of the injuries seen in 49 in the protocol?
Yes, he did.
Both of them?
Yes.
Did he diagram both of them?
Yes, he did.
Does he address either of them in the addendum?
No,
Any reason he should have?
he need not have because he has described them accurately.
Last thing about the abrasion contusion, is there anything about it which allows you to give an opinion concerning the relative positions of Mr. Goldman and the perpetrator at the time that injury was received?
I will not be able to give that an opinion on that.
For the same reasons?
Yes.
Anything further just about the photographs and what they show regarding those injuries?
Nothing else.
If we can just identify in the diagram and the protocols where these two injuries to the head are addressed and diagrammed.
Yes. The sharp force injury in G49 is in page 7, number 2.
And doctor, how have you designated, again, these would be arbitrary designations numerically, is the sharp force injury number 1 of G49?
Yes.
And is the abrasion contusion injury number 2 of G49?
Yes.
All right, so it's item number 2, you said?
Yes.
And that will be our injury number 1 of G49?
Yes. Actually, we didn't give it a number for in G49 because we described this separately in G48.
Okay. So let's start paragraph 2 here, or item 2, is the sharp force injury of G49.
Yes.
Seen only in G49.
Yes.
All right, G-49. And then item 3 refers to what is seen in both G49 and G48.
Yes.
And let me outline that, including the opinion, and I'll write at the side G-49 and G-48. Doctor, in your opinion, are those descriptions by Dr. Golden of each of those injuries accurate?
Yes.
And is his opinion that's expressed with respect to that contusion abrasion accurate?
Yes.
And now where is it diagrammed, either one of them?
20F.
20F?
Yes.
Doctor, fill us in, if you would, please, for each.
This is the quarter-inch cut in the back of the head, which is seen in G49 and only seen in G49. It says superficial skin cut, quarter-inch deep, and no SGH means no subgaleal hemorrhage.
What is a subgaleal hemorrhage?
That is the deeper part of the scalp below the galea, G-A-L-E-A.
What is the significance, if any, of the observation that there is no such hemorrhage?
That would signify that this is a superficial cut and not a deep cut in the scalp.
What else, if anything, does Dr. Golden indicate concerning that particular sharp force injury?
That is it. This whole thing is G49.
All right, let me circle that area that you've just outlined in the lower right quadrant of Form 20F from Board 6G of our collective set 357, and I'll write G-49 in blue.
And then we have the quarter-inch red-brown abrasion with skin bruising showing the injury in G48.
And that one is also seen in G49?
Yes.
All right, let me outline that entire area. Doctor, does this word here that appears to be between the diagram of the abrasion and the circled area for the sharp force injury refer to that abrasion?
Yes.
And what is that word, if you can?
Ovoid, it says. Ovoid.
What is-
O-V-O-I-D.
What does ovoid mean?
That's oval shape, slightly oval shape.
And is that a reference to the form of the abrasion?
Yes.
Let me outline this area in the same lower quadrant of 20F, and I'll write G-48, G-49. Now, doctor, as long as we have this board up, there appears to be an additional entry with some handwriting in that same diagram. What does that refer to, if anything?
That is the sharp force injury which we saw in G40 or 55, the one in the back of the head.
Are you talking about injury number 3? I think it's G40.
Yes, G40.
Let me just get that board so you're certain.
This refers to injury number 3 of G40, this one.
All right. What has Dr. Golden indicated and diagrammed?
He has indicated that it's a sharp force injury, right posterior parietal, back to front.
What does the back to front mean?
That is, the wound is traversing back to front.
From the back of the body towards the front of the body?
Yes. And it's a 5/8 inch cut. Depth is quarter-inch to 3/8 inch of the scalp. So this whole thing would reflect to sharp force injury number 3 in G40. I mean, G40.
Doctor, is this area where I'm pointing out
Did you
a
give him a hug
diagram of
for
some
me like I
form
said?
used by Dr. Golden
Do it on the
concerning that
phone.
injury number 3?
Yes.
And what is he intending to depict by that
He
diagram?
shows the higher magnification of the wound, and he also describes a smaller cut in the upper margin there.
Let me outline that entire area in red. And I'll then write G-40 INJ number 3. Doctor, from your review of all of the materials, are these three the three and only 3 injuries to the head of Mr. Goldman?
That is correct.
Anything further with respect to this diagram?
Nothing further.
Take this down if we could. And take the protocol down.
We have a description here of the same injury if you want to finish.
Oh, okay. Sure, as long as we've got the page, why don't we finish this up? There is some reference in the autopsy protocol to that injury number 3 of G40?
Yes.
Where is it?
It's right here. Sharp force injuries to the scalp. The scalp is showed post-mortem, the hole number 1 up to the opinion.
Doctor, is that description, that is before the 2 lines for opinion, is that an accurate description of injury number 3 of G40?
Yes.
Is the opinion that is offered there one which in your judgment and opinion is accurate?
Yes.
All right, let me circle that then in red. And up at the left-hand border, I'll write G-40 INJ number 3. Is there anything further diagrammatically or in the protocol concerning any of these 3 head injuries?
Not that I recall at this time.
Anything in the addendum regarding any of the 3 we have not discussed?
No.
All right, let's take this down then. And before we get to that one photograph with respect to the facial injuries, I have another series of photographs that bears the title of blunt force trauma, sharp force injury, and defensive wounds to the left arm, left and right hands of Mr. Goldman. May this be marked as Exhibit 361.
Yes, People's 361.
Speak up, sir. Speak up, sir. It would be great if Dr. L would say, hey, can you speak up?
Doctor, again, these are photographs that you have reviewed in the course of your examination of the autopsy materials.
Yes, and I also reviewed 1:1 photographs on.
I was going to ask you, you reviewed the life-size photographs for each of these photos?
Yes, I have.
And did you also see the photos in this dimension, but in an uncropped fashion? Obviously, some of these have been cropped, narrowed, and so forth to conform to the order of the court.
Yes, I have.
And also, Your Honor, with this exhibit, I have 2 additional photographs which have designations on the back of the photograph. One has a 34 written on the back, and for the record, I'm going to write the letter G in the red on the back of that. And I'd ask that that be marked as 361A, and I will also write the designation of EXH 361A in the lower right-hand corner. And then I have a very small photograph that appears to show one hand and wrist area that has G25 written on the back, and I'll ask that this be marked as Exhibit 361B, and I'll write that same designation in the lower right-hand corner on the back of that photo.
So marked. And I take it you've shown those to Mr. Shapiro?
Yes.
Right.
Doctor, I want to talk first of all about the hands, as shown in a series of photographs, G28, G35, G26, G29, and G32, as well as our 2 additional photographs. And Your Honor, I don't know, does the court clerk have little pins that I might be able to use to stick these 2 photographs?
Poster pins, why don't you take some off my bulletin board?
As long as we get into the discussion. Doctor, you talked last week about something called defensive wounds, is that correct?
Yes, I did.
And in looking at all of these photographs of Mr. Goldman's hands, did you examine them in particular to look for evidence of defensive wounds?
Yes, I did.
Did you find evidence of defensive wounds?
Yes, I did.
Let's start, if we could, please, with the right hand. And the photographs that appear to reflect or represent the right hand are on the right-hand end of this Exhibit 361, G35 and G32, is that correct?
Yes.
And also, this individual photograph, which hopefully we'll be able to put up alongside G35, which is G34, is that correct?
Yes.
I think the clerk has... I'm sorry. Sure. Let's see which is better. Let's try those pins. Doctor, let's start then with 35 and what is also 34. What are we looking at in those two photographs?
We have evidence of two sharp force injuries. One is a cut in the palm of the hand between the right middle finger and right index finger web. It's right in the base of those two fingers. That's one cut. The other cut is in the palm of the hand near the base of the right thumb, and this is called it's like a T-shaped wound here, which you
I'm
can
sorry,
see.
a what shape, Doctor?
A T or a Y-shaped wound.
Y or T-shaped wound?
Yes.
Yes, number 165, can you see that?
Yes.
All right, thank you.
So you have two sharp force injuries, and what you see is, are we calling this G34?
That is G34. Let me get behind here and just prop it out a little bit so the ladies and gentlemen of the jury can see it.
G34 shows the same sharp force injury, which you see in the web here, in a better manner because the fingers have been opened up, so you can see the injury better, and you can also see the characteristics of the wound.
Your Honor, Mr. Fairwell tells me this is translucent on the part that extends. I don't think it causes any concern, and the court's indication conforms with mine, so we'll leave it as is. Doctor, in your opinion, are these two injuries, and by the way, have you designated them arbitrarily with numbers?
Yeah, I called the one to the web as injury number 1.
I have no words to describe how embarrassed I am right now. I am a Pittsburgh Steelers fan. Born and raised Pittsburgh Steelers. I'm sure when I was in the womb they were playing the games so that I could hear them. It was Lynn Swann, not O.J. Simpson. It was Lynn Swann that took ballet lessons to make him a better football player. My daddy is turning over in his grave right now because I just said it was O.J. Simpson.
And I called the one to the base of the thumb as injury number 2.
Doctor, in your opinion, is each of those sharp force injuries what you would call a defensive wound?
Yes.
In what manner, in your opinion, should they be considered defensive wounds?
They would be called as defensive wounds because the victim obviously kept his hand open and tried to grab the knife or tried to defend himself from a knife thrust which was being directed against some part of his body to prevent that knife striking the body. So one option could be that he tried to grab the knife or block the penetration, and the other option is without grabbing, just kind of blocking maneuver.
Doctor, can you use the ruler and you tell me what to do as if I'm Mr. Goldman? What is it that you've been talking about which would result in these kinds of defensive wounds?
See, one is a Y-shaped wound at the base of the thumb, the other is a cut in the web between the index and middle finger. If you're Mr. Goldman, if the knife...
Why don't you demonstrate if you can, please, Doctor?
Tell him I said I'm sorry for him.
You may
No,
try
he's
to
sick. Leave
stab
him
you here,
alone.
you bring your hand and try to hold the knife. You try to, but you won't be able to hold. If you held the knife, you would have other cuts in the other fingers, and you don't have that. So it would be, though it could be a maneuver towards that, it would be most likely a blocking type of situation.
And as a blocking situation, how are those injuries inflicted?
With the knife tip cutting the skin here. The other option is when the knife is being wielded, you could have a cut in the hand without it necessarily having been a puncture type wound.
And that would be injury number 1 that you're talking about, as
Yes.
seen in both of the photographs, G35 and G34.
Both injury number 1 and 2.
Now, doctor, from the appearance of injury number 1, would you describe those, besides being defensive wounds, as incise wounds,
Yes,
in the sense that their depth is less than the length on the surface of the body?
yes.
As a result of being incise wounds, can you distinguish as to whether or not this is inflicted with a single-edged knife or a double-edged knife?
I can't.
But is it still your opinion that both of these are consistent with being inflicted with this hypothetical, approximately 6-inch long blade, single-edged knife?
With a tapering tip, yes.
And when you say tapering tip, meaning getting narrower at the tip of the knife?
Yes.
Doctor, in your opinion, and as you've described, are both of those defensive wounds ante-mortem, that is, inflicted before death?
Yes.
Do either of them play any significant role in cause of death?
No.
Or in any of the other big-ticket questions that you've been talking about?
No.
Can you tell from this information whether they were received at or about the same time, that is, as part of the same thrust of the knife, or whether they resulted from individual thrusts or wields of the knife?
I would favor individual thrusts
Why is that, doctor?
because they're separate location, different appearance. And as I pointed out, if the knife was really held, I would expect to see more cuts in the other parts of the palm of the hand, which we don't have. You have two localized cuts to the palm of the hand, one near the base of the thumb and one near the web between the index and middle finger.
I'm sorry, where in the photo would you expect to see these additional cuts if, in fact, a hand closed on the knife?
You would see it in other fingers.
Can you point out on the photograph?
Depending on how the knife is held, you could have it in the palmar surface of these fingers or this part of the thumb.
And for the record, Your Honor, the doctor was indicating the middle finger, and was it also the index finger, doctor, that you were pointing to?
Index and middle finger and the thumb also.
All right. Anything further about those two defensive wounds regarding their nature?
Nothing else specific which I can talk about at this point.
Did Dr. Golden describe them in the original protocol?
Yes, he did.
Did he diagram either of them?
Yes, he did.
Both of them?
Yes.
Is either addressed in the addendum?
No.
Any reason they should have been?
They need not have been addressed because they've been described fairly accurately.
I'm sorry, fairly
I
accurate?
mean, accurately.
Doctor, are there any additional injuries you see to the palm area of the right hand as seen in either of those two photographs, G35 or G34?
No.
Terry, you should come back.
Anything
Everybody's
further you wish
here
to discuss
today.
at this point regarding those two photographs?
No.
Then let's move, if we could, doctor, to the bottom photograph, G32, the right wrist and hand, and this is showing now the back of the hand and the wrist. Is
No,
that
it's
correct?
okay.
Yes.
It's still boring.
Doctor, do there appear to be a
Go
number
look,
of
go
findings
look.
in that photograph?
Yes.
Have you numbered these findings, again arbitrarily, by injury numbers 1 through whatever?
Yes.
And what's the whatever end?
I've numbered them starting from the abrasion here, and I've numbered them through number 12.
Why don't you take us through just a generalized overview of what each of the injuries you see in that hand depiction, wrist depiction, of photograph G32 shows?
You have an abrasion to the ulnar aspect of the right wrist. You have an abrasion to the back of the right wrist here. You have a contusion, a bruising of the knuckle of the base of the right middle finger. You have a linear abrasion in the dorsum of the proximal portion of the base of the right index finger.
Doctor, that's a mouthful. Dorsum is still the back,
Yes, back of the right index finger,
and,
base,
and in lay terms, the location is,
near the base of the right index finger.
okay,
You also have a small abrasion adjacent to it. You have a contusion in the the ulnar aspect of the index finger near the abrasion I just described. There's also a scraping of the nail evident on the index finger. In the middle finger, you have a abrasion and contusion in the proximal interphalangeal joint. See, each finger has 3 small pieces of bone called the phalanges, and this is located in the joint between the first and second phalanges here on the middle finger.
can you point that out to the ladies and gentlemen of the jury, so
See.
they'll be able to see, doctor?
Uh,
You want to do it with my hand, and it's
This
got a
is the
few ink stains on it, but
This is the index finger. You see the abrasion right here. You have a contusion in this aspect of the index finger, and on the middle finger you have an abrasion here, and this overlies a contusion. And what I meant by phalanges are 1, 2, and 3, the 3 bones in the finger, and the joints are the interphalangeal joints. So what you have here is a scrape and bruising of the back of the proximal interphalangeal joint.
proximal is just a fancy way of saying it's the part that's closer to the hand itself,
That's correct.
and distal is the opposite, meaning it's further away.
Yes.
Okay.
And of course, you do have a scraping in the nail here, which is seen in the photograph. Then, adjacent to this abrasion bruise, you also have a smaller abrasion in the back of the right middle finger. The right ring finger shows a similar abrasion contusion over the proximal phalanx, same area as the middle finger. And you have a smaller abrasion here in the proximal interphalangeal joint of the little finger. So you have several areas of blunt force injury to the back of the hand, and I've already described the other injuries in the wrist area, and I've numbered them arbitrarily as 1 through 12, and so that we can correlate the description of these injuries with the diagram and the protocol. And
Doctor, is each of injuries 1 through 12 an injury that, in your opinion, was received before death?
yes,
All ante-mortem?
yes,
And all the result of blunt force trauma?
yes.
Are any of them, in your opinion, significant on the issue of cause of death?
No.
Are any of them of significance to you in the area of defensive action by Mr. Goldman to avoid his attacker?
Yes, he was trying to back away from the wielding knife.
What leads you to form an opinion that what is shown in that photograph regarding the back of the hand indicates that Mr. Goldman was trying to back away from an attacker who was coming at him with a wielding knife, as you indicated for the record, with a side-to-side motion in front of your body?
Because of the nature of the appearance of the injuries, the abrasion contusions would indicate that this hand, there are two issues here. One, you don't see any cuts in the back of the hand. The cuts are all in the front of the right side of the hand.
What's the significance of that?
That means the back of the hand was not coming in contact with the sharp force like the front of the hand. And that would also the back of the hand shows blunt force injuries, which are abrasion contusions, which can be explained by the surroundings, which we saw in the crime scene photographs. There are certain of the surroundings which can account for these type of injuries.
We're going to break this down a bit if we could, Doctor. First of all, in saying that you see no cuts to the back of the hand and you see the two defensive wounds to the palm surface of the hand, is that of significance to you in evaluating whether Mr. Goldman ever closed his hand into a fist as if to deliver a punch to his assailant?
It would favor my opinion that the hand was probably kept open rather than clenched, because if he had kept the hand clenched, he would have got some cuts in the back of the hand, which I don't see here in the photographs or the description.
Why would you have expected the back of the hand to show cuts if, in fact, Mr. Goldman had closed his hand into a fist in an effort to deliver a blow to his assailant?
One, he'll be getting closer to the assailant who is having a wielding knife, which is obvious from the sharp force injuries, and would have resulted in cuts to the back of the hand too, because he'll be more in a proximal or a closer situation to the assailant.
Doctor, would it be accurate if I take on the role of Mr. Goldman and you're the knife-wielding assailant? In your experience, is the normal human reaction to attempt to avoid the wielding knife?
Yes.
If someone attempts to deliver a blow by use of a fist to the perpetrator in a manner such as I'm doing now with my right hand closed in a fist, Your Honor, and approaching Dr. Lakshmanan representing the assailant, would that take me further away from danger, or in your opinion, bring me closer to the danger? You may answer the question.
It would bring you closer to danger, because I'm wielding a knife like this, and if you bring your closed fist towards me, you're going to get cuts in your forearms, back of the hand, if you're depending on where the knife is in location to the moving arm of yours.
And for the record, Your Honor, I moved forward, again, as I indicated before, but Dr. Lakshmanan moved closer to me with his right hand extended, again, waving in a side-to-side manner as if wielding a knife.
Yes.
And Doctor, that is one of the bases for your opinion that Mr. Goldman did not, in fact, close his hand into a fist to deliver a punch to the assailant. Is that correct?
That is number one. And number two, also the appearance of the injuries, which you see, if you take them in collectively and also individually, especially the injuries to the back of the knuckles, they all have abrasion contusions, which would favor a blunt force which has a rough surface. And we have certain structures in the environment in Bundy which will explain these injuries, which would be more consistent with an open hand trying to avoid a knife and backing off and striking these structures, rather than a closed hand attacking the assailant with a wielding knife.
And I'm going to get the photographs out of the environmental surroundings. But Doctor, in your review of this material before testifying, did you review, among other pieces of information, literature from a sports medicine textbook concerning boxing injuries to the hand?
I just looked at what kind of injuries seen in boxing, and I did review some information on that.
Was that information of any significance to you, along with these other matters you've already described, in assessing whether the grouping or pattern of injuries or absence of injuries in certain locations supported your opinion that Mr. Goldman did not close his hand into a fist in an effort to deliver a blow to the perpetrator?
That supported my opinion.
Why is that?
Because if it were a closed fist and this bruise, let's assume this bruise, which is in the knuckle, was from a closed fist. I've already explained there are no cuts in the back of the hand. And this bruise on the closed fist was a result of Mr. Goldman closing his fist and trying to give a punch. The problem is you don't have other injuries in the adjoining knuckles, because usually in a closed fist type of boxing situation, you'll have other knuckles also affected, which is not present, number one. And number two, the injuries here, the abrasion contusions, do not fit that kind of scenario, because this kind of abrasion contusion, you get more with a rough surface, like one of the items which comes right staring at my face is the bark of the tree, which you have there, which is in the closed environment I discussed on Friday or Thursday, I think, the enclosed space in which this attack did take place.
Let me invite your attention then to the board of photographs. I think we've already had this marked, Your Honor, as Exhibit 359, I believe. 349, excuse me. Now, Doctor, we've left the photograph of the back of the hand so that everyone can follow your explanation. Would you show us what it is about the environmental surroundings of Mr. Goldman's body that, in your opinion, correlates with the nature of the abrasion contusions to the back of the hand?
For that, one should go back to this environment we have. We have the tree here. We have this sapling with a support wooden, I think it's a wooden support beam here which supports this plant. There's not much distance between all these structures. The tree and the side railing you see in the back here, it's only about within a foot. And the tree stump you see here is also pretty close to this tree. There's not much distance between the sapling and this tree, nor is there much distance, actually, from this side railing to the walkway, which is a little more on this side of crime scene 1, is only about a couple of feet. So what I'm trying to say is, if Mr. Goldman was, assuming the hypothetical was situated right between the sapling and the tree, and you have somebody wielding a knife and you're backing off, your hand is going to be banging against this rough surface. And if you, I ran my surface on this bark of this tree, it's pretty rough. At the same time, it's a hard surface. And I would expect to see these kind of abrasion contusions can occur from that kind of blunt force with an open hand striking that kind of environment, in my opinion.
Doctor, in your opinion, is the human body the kind of rough surface that would result in not just a contusion, but an abrasion contusion to the part of the fist or hand in contact with the human body as the blow is delivered?
Not this type of abrasion contusion. And you won't get an abrasion, you'll get more of a contusion when you strike a human body.
Doctor, is the location of the abrasion within each of the contusions of significance to you?
Yes, they seem to be localized in the center of the contusion, which would go along with this kind of environment rather than what you just also brought up in your hypothetical.
When you say in the center of the contusion, would that be the area that is in the direct contact with whatever the rough surface is that the hand is coming in contact with?
Yes, like in the bark of the tree, there are uneven elevations and depressions. So the abrasion would be caused by the rough, elevated areas of the bark rather than the depressed areas of the bark.
Now, Doctor, I think you indicate you may have misspoken one word, but did you run your hand, the palm of your hand, over the
Kelly,
surface
thank you
of the
so
tree
much.
shown in S1?
Thank
Yes, I
you,
did.
thank
Did
you,
you also
thank you.
run your hand over the surface of the sapling shown in CS1, both of this same exhibit, board 349?
Yes, I did, and I also ran my hand over some of these bars here. You do have some irregularities, even though it's a painted, smooth type of metal railing. There are irregularities on the surface, either due to dirt when the metal was painted or whatever the reason. There are some irregularities, and that would explain injury which I have later in the left hand when we discuss it.
Doctor, are there also smooth areas of those bars?
Yes, there are.
If the hand, like the right hand that shows the contusion, would you point to the one that's just a contusion without an abrasion?
That is the knuckle over the middle finger, right here.
And does that have an injury number, just so we can...
Yes. The injury number for that is number 3 of G32. It's over the right middle finger. I gave it injury number 3 of G32.
Doctor, is that a contusion which, in your judgment, could be caused by Mr. Goldman in flailing back with his right hand, that hand coming in contact with a smooth area of one of those bars?
It could very well be.
Doctor,
And one more point you ought to make is, then the question which can arise is, why didn't the rest of the finger get contusion? You have space between the bars. There's about 4 or 5 inches space between the bar. So what I'm trying to drive at is, even though the hand is coming in contact with a particular bar, the rest of the hand need not have come in contact with the next bar. There's a couple of inches between each of those bars. I think it's about 4.5 inches between each of those bars,
Yay!
if you go and measure them,
Thank
approximately.
you, Tona.
Did you do that,
Thank
Doctor,
you,
when you were there?
thank you,
Yes, I did.
thank you.
Doctor, is that
Tona,
therefore the
I've
pattern,
tried-
if you will,
I wanna
looking
say
at all of these
Tanya
injuries to
each
the back of the
time.
hand, in your judgment,
Thank
is
you,
that
Tona.
grouping
Thank
of
you,
injuries
thank
then
you.
consistent with this flailing and backing away from the attacker rather than an effort by Mr. Goldman to throw a punch in the direction of the assailant coming towards him with a knife?
That is correct. And of course, one of the strongest reinforcing points is the cuts being to the palm of the hand, which would indicate that the hand was probably kept open and not closed, because I don't see any cuts in both the hands like the ones you see in the palm of the hands in both the hands.
You don't see cuts on the back of the hand?
Yes.
Doctor, and is that consistent with your experience of what would be the expected defensive reaction on the part of a human being who is facing an impending assault with a knife-wielding assailant?
That is correct.
Is there anything else for our present purposes that we need to describe with these photographs, the crime scene photographs, and the injuries as seen to the right hand, the back of the right hand in photograph G32?
No.
Let me put this board back then. I think before we go into the protocols and so forth, Doctor, why don't we finish with the left hand and cover then all of the injuries if we can, or as much as possible before we quit for the end of the day, the hands before we then go to the protocols and diagrams and so forth. So can we start then with the left hand? Photos we have appear to be G28, G29, G26, and G25, which I'm going to pin between photos G26 and G29 on the board. Let's start, if we could, Doctor, with 28 and 29. What do each of these photographs show?
28 shows the palm of the left hand, and you also see a portion of the thumb. The principal injuries you see in G28 are a cut to the palm of the hand near the base of the little finger, a cut to the base of the thumb. You also see an abrasion to the tip of the thumb, and you also see a linear abrasion to the base of the thumb here. And these are the principal injuries you can see in G28 photograph.
Doctor, have you numbered these again arbitrarily?
Yes, I have, and we can go into details if you want now or later.
Why don't we do that later? I just want to be sure. You've numbered these 4 injuries arbitrarily, 1 through 4?
1 through 3, and I've described this injury near the base of the little finger under G29.
All right, and that's our next photograph.
Yes.
Why don't we then have you discuss, if you would please, the findings of that photograph?
G29 shows a portion of the sharp force injury to the base of the thumb, which is a cut. And you see the cut to the base of into the palm near the base of the little finger. But you also see abrasions to the front of the little finger here and the middle finger in its distal aspect, that is the part of the middle finger away from the hand. So these are non-specific blunt force type injuries, and this is a sharp force injury here.
Where is that, Doctor?
The one to the palm of the hand at the base of the little finger.
Is that a description in general terms, Doctor, of all of the findings of photograph G29?
Yes.
Now, Doctor, taking these 2 photographs together, would you describe all of these injuries as evidence of defensive wounds?
Yes.
Are they of significance to you, their location and appearance, informing an opinion as to how they may have been received?
Yes, the palmar cuts could be the same way the palmar cuts of the right hand. You have a cut to the palm of the left hand here and the base of the thumb, which could be the same mechanisms I described by the hand being used to avoid a penetrating thrust to a part of the body, could be from the wielding, with a hand being interposed to protect the body against the wielding knife. There are numerous other ways it can happen, but I just gave you some examples. And the abrasion itself, this abrasion is on the little finger is looks as though the abrasion, the skin has been peeled off or shaved off this in its superficial part, and this could be from just scraping of the finger against a rough surface, but it could also be scraping of the finger against the blunt edge of a knife.
How does that happen, Doctor?
Because if the blunt edge of the knife is scraped against the skin, you can get this kind of linear scraping of the skin with a peeling of a flap. But it could be from other mechanisms like rubbing against a rough surface with the skin being peeled off in that manner.
Would the ground be considered a rough surface?
It could be.
Doctor, if it is a blunt end of a knife, would that mean a single-edged knife?
Yes, especially if you take this in conjunction with this cut to the hand, there could be an attempt at grabbing at the knife at this point like this.
Doctor, could you use the ruler? It's to your left. And demonstrate either using my hand or yours, and if you'll face the ladies and gentlemen of the jury so they can see.
Like this, with a blunt edge here and the sharp edge cutting like this, and you're trying to get it, and you can get the scraping of the skin that way.
Your Honor, for the record, could you do that slowly, Doctor? Hold. The doctor with his right hand has placed about the upper 2 inches of the ruler where it appears to be near the area of the ring and little finger of his left hand, with those 2 fingers curled somewhat, but not curled around the ruler. And then, Doctor, what did you do?
And the other thing is, the knife is also turning, and this skin gets scraped like this. And that's why you're getting the peeling of the skin here.
And for the record, the doctor turned the knife so that the edge in contact with those 2 fingers was coming or rubbing or scraping, whatever the term may be, across those 2 fingers as it is then coming free from the area of the hand.
Yes.
This is just one way it could have been caused.
Now, Doctor, in your opinion, from observing all of these 2 photographs and reviewing any material, in your opinion, were all of these defensive wounds received before death?
Yes.
Do any of them play any significance on the issue of cause of death?
No.
Doctor, given the nature of that, those findings of defensive wounds, do you have an opinion as to whether Mr. Goldman closed his left hand in a fist-like action as if to deliver a blow?
For the same reasons I gave before, if you look at the back of the hand in G26, shall we describe them briefly, or?
All right, why don't we do that?
Yeah. In G26 is the back of the left hand. You have an abrasion of the left lower forearm. You have a contusion of the base of the left hand here. But what is important is you have a punctate, small abrasion in the middle of the contusion. And this is important to remember, there's a linear abrasion here. And the back of the left hand shows an abrasion to the knuckle of the middle finger, an abrasion, injury to the base of the index finger, an abrasion contusion to the proximal joint, interphalangeal joint of the index finger here. And there's a smaller abrasion distal to it. And if you look at the back of the left hand, you don't see any cuts, just like the one in the right hand. You don't see any cuts. The only cuts are to the front of the hand, which again favors an opinion that the hand was probably not clenched or only the front of the hand came in contact with the knife. And the injuries again here are non-specific blunt force trauma, which can be explained by the environment, which would favor an open hand flailing away against a wielding knife and hitting those objects which I just discussed in crime scene photographs.
Doctor, I was going to ask you, are those same findings, the rough surface of the tree, the rough surface of some of the bars and so forth, the sapling and the support stake for the sapling, are those the kinds of items which, in your opinion, are consistent with Mr. Goldman's back of his left hand in a flailing action coming in contact with, resulting in these blunt force trauma injuries?
That would be my opinion.
Now, doctor, is the location, you mentioned this contusion on photograph G26 near the area where the hand joins the wrist, as having a punctate abrasion on it. Is the location of that contusion of some significance in forming an opinion as to whether it was caused by a striking action, that is, the fist being clenched to deliver a blow?
The location is more towards the wrist area, but the appearance of the injuries would be more consistent with hitting against a blunt, smooth surface object with a rough, random irregularity, like in the metal bar, which I felt the surface. You have certain areas which could be rough, but mostly it's smooth. And one of the elevations of such a bar could have caused that injury too. I'm not saying that's what happened, but that's one of the possibilities, rather than the wrist coming in contact through a closed fist causing a punch. Because if you throw a punch, you will get the injuries more to the back of the phalanges and knuckles rather than the wrist, unless it was an improperly thrown punch.
Do you see,
And then you can't explain the abrasion there
you cannot explain the abrasion?
by that scenario.
The human body doesn't have that kind of rough surface that would translate into a punctate abrasion on top of the contusion?
That's correct.
And doctor, would it also be your opinion, based upon what you told us a moment ago regarding the unnatural aspect of a victim throwing a punch to bring the victim closer to an attacking, a knife-wielding assailant, would your answers be the same as to why, in your opinion, Mr. Goldman did not have his left hand clenched in a fist to throw a punch?
That would be my opinion for the various reasons I've already discussed. But one of the important things is you have cuts in the front of the hand and you don't have any cuts in the back of the hand. And to me, that is significant.
Doctor, are you able to tell from reviewing all of these hand photographs as to the relative positions of Mr. Goldman and the attacker? And by that I mean, for example, can you tell whether Mr. Goldman was seated and basically flailing backwards in a seated position, or standing and flailing backwards? Are you able to make that determination?
It'll be difficult for me to opine on that, but I would favor that probably this was when he was mobile and able to move his extremities,
Okay, mobile meaning,
standing up at
And-
some point during the assault.
and moving his extremities referring to his arms?
Yes.
Doctor, let me get another photograph. I think we have enough time to touch upon it. And Your Honor, I have another board. May this be marked? Oh, I'm sorry, I don't need it. I'm sorry, it's on this board. It's photograph G20.
Yes.
Doctor, do you see something in photograph G20 above the blue photographic identification card that is of any significance to you?
Yes, you have a smaller abrasion, and in front of it there's an interrupted intact skin area, and in front of that you have a triangular abrasion. By the way, the photograph shows the front of the body on the left side of the photograph. You can see the nipple there. And the
Nipple of the breast?
Yes. And the triangular abrasion base is facing the front. And you have another area of abrasion in front of the triangular abrasion. There's another area of intact skin between these two. And so you have three non-specific areas of abrasion injury. You also have a faint abrasion above it in this running on a horizontal axis on a side-to-side axis of the photograph in the left arm. And you also have a smaller abrasion near the left elbow area.
I'd like to focus, if we could, on this interrupted group of abrasions you talked about. First of all, can you point on your left arm, in general, where is that area on Mr. Goldman's arm?
It is somewhere in this region here.
For the record, Your Honor, Dr. Lakshmanan is pointing to an area appears to be halfway between the shoulder and the elbow and towards the, about the middle between the front and the back of the body.
Typical tattoo location.
I'll take your word on that, Your Honor. Doctor, you have looked at, if we could have the environmental photos back, please. Let me see if I can hold it over here. The court's permission, can I sit on counsel table?
Certainly.
Doctor, you have examined, have you not, in your visits to the Bundy location, the sapling and the support stake that are seen in photograph CS1?
Yes, I have.
And doctor, did you also examine Mr. Goldman's shirt that he was wearing at the time his body was found?
Yes, I did.
Doctor, does that shirt and the sapling and the support stake have any significance to you in evaluating what you described as this interrupted area of abrasion seen in photograph G20?
There are two issues here. One is you have an intermediate object, the clothing between the area in contact, if that was the area of contact which caused this injury, and the skin surface. So you won't have a pattern of the object. You won't have the pattern of the object which caused the injury on the skin surface because the clothing is interspersed between the object and the skin. The second factor is there is a space, interrupted skin space there, and if you look at the sapling and the support beam, there is an area between the two because the support beam or stake holds the sapling upright. So one way this injury could have been caused is if the hand with the shirt on its surface had come in contact with that area, causing an abrasion. It's not an abrasion contusion, it's mainly an abrasion injury. So you don't have to necessarily have force, because if it was force, then it's just a scrape on that area.
Doctor, if Mr. Goldman either backed into that area where his left arm in that area shown in the photograph came in contact, or he somehow was pushed into that area such that that part of his left arm came in contact with the space between the sapling and the support stake, would that, in your opinion, be consistent with the resulting interrupted abrasion pattern we see in photograph G20?
That could be one explanation for it, if that's what happened.
And doctor, is there anything about the appearance of that interrupted area of abrasions which allows you to be more specific as to potential manners in which that could have been received?
This would be one possible scenario how this happened, especially with the interrupted intact skin, which would be explained by the space between the stake and the plant. But of course, you should realize that you also have clothing which can also fold when this happens. But there's no specific pattern to the injury which can say with absolute certainty that's what caused it. But I would favor that scenario more than other scenarios there.
And doctor, finally, before I believe we're going to end the day, can you exclude that that is due to a blow struck by the perpetrator, either a fist of the perpetrator or a rounded end of the knife?
I couldn't exclude it, but the problem is you have these areas of intact skin there, which, if caused by the folding of the clothing, would leave more of a pattern. But I would favor more an object of this nature, because only a scrape, because if it's a blow of the knife, you would expect also a lot of bruising there, like we saw in the scalp contusion in Nicole, because there'll be also crushing injury, which you don't have here. It's only a scrape in the skin.
And absent that bruising, does that suggest to you that, in fact, that was not the cause?
Yes.
Your Honor, would this be a convenient time for the
Yes, it would. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to take our recess for the day. Please remember all of my admonitions to you. Do not discuss this case amongst yourselves. Don't form any opinions about the case. Do not allow anybody to communicate with you with regard to the case. Do not conduct any deliberations until the matter has been submitted to you. As far as the jury is concerned, we'll stand in recess until 9 o'clock tomorrow morning. All right, thank you, counsel. All right, doctor, tomorrow morning, 8:40. All right, back on the record in the Simpson matter. Mr. Simpson is again present before the court with his counsel, Mr. Shapiro, Mr. Cochran, Mr. Neufeld, Mr. Douglas, people represented by Mr. Kelberg, Mr. Lynch, also present, Mr. Darden. Jury is not present. Good morning, Mr. Neufeld. Mrs. Robertson told me that you had an issue you wanted to advise the court of.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Good morning, sir.
Yesterday, I learned of a revised schedule from the district attorney's office in which they said that after Dr. Lakshmanan, there were going to be some witnesses involving gloves and shoes, and then they intended to call Bruce Weir and the other DNA witnesses. You may recall, Your Honor, that Bruce Weir's name came up when the decision was made by the prosecution not to rely on Dr. Cotton for certain frequencies, but instead to have that articulated by Dr. Weir. At that time, Dr. William Thompson came into court and expressed on the record our objection to what appeared to be a preliminary report of Dr. Weir's suggestion that he was going to testify about likelihood ratios. And our objection was based in part on the fact that there was no legal precedent for using likelihood ratios in a criminal case anywhere in the state of California and perhaps anywhere in the United States, as well as other grounds. And at that point, Mr. Clark said, we don't intend to use the likelihood ratios in that report. There's a lot of other data there that we intend to rely on to express frequencies. Well, we received another preliminary report from Dr. Weir last week, which again relies heavily on this use of likelihood ratios. Dr. Thompson said at that time that if they intend to try and offer likelihood ratios or do anything different than what the court's order required, which was simply an aggregation of frequencies in mixtures, that we would, of course, demand a 402 hearing on that particular issue, which had nothing to do with the DNA for Kelly Fry hearings, just has to do with the manner in which evidence can be expressed to the jury. If they intend to call Dr. Weir, and if they intend to utilize these likelihood ratios, then we need to sort of schedule this 402 hearing. We would call witnesses in opposition at that hearing, just on that one issue of the likelihood ratios. So I'm simply asking for two things. One is that perhaps someone from their office can come down either at the break, the lunch break, or at the beginning of the afternoon session, just so both of us can talk to the court and get some heads up on if that's their intent, so we can schedule it accordingly.
All right.
Can that be done at 1:30?
Sounds appropriate. Yes.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
All right, and by the way, we will be in recess for lunch today until 1:30. All right.
Your Honor, may I suggest, actually, if Mr. Neufeld has limited interest in hearing about forensic pathology, that Mr. Clark and/or Mr. Harmon may well be upstairs on the 18th floor at this time or shortly from this time, and it might be beneficial if, in some fashion, he can wander up to the 18th floor or call. I assume he has office numbers for both Mr. Clark and Mr. Harmon, and to see if they can get together before 1:30.
I agree.
Fine, then we'll report back to the court at 1:30.
Thank you. All right, Mr. Cocker.
Good morning, Your Honor. Your Honor, with regard to the scheduling, the prosecution yesterday did delete one witness from the list, and we understand they've changed the order. What I'm asking now is whether or not from the prosecution we can get a list as certain as possible for the conclusion of the case, because we have lawyers who are all over the United States, and rather than have a delay in the trial, I really would like to kind of cement it as soon as...
There will be no delay.
Okay, and I appreciate that. And so that in order to be ready, Your Honor, we need to know who's coming up next and have some kind of certainty with regard to that, so the lawyers can return in enough time to make sure they're ready.
All right, let me make inquiry of Ms. Clark and Mr. Darden, since they're have the overall responsibility for this. Good morning, counsel.
Good morning, Your Honor. Yes, I informed counsel yesterday that we're closer to the end than we thought we were. And I inquired of Mr. Harmon and Mr. Clark yesterday as to when the last probe would be pulled off 117, and I have to solidify that before I can give counsel a totally accurate picture. But I have told counsel so far that after the coroner, actually maybe I told Mr. Douglas, I'm sorry, that after the coroners it would be either shoes or gloves, and they know what chain of witnesses that is. And following that, we believe we can proceed with the rest of DNA and Dr. Weir and EDTA, and then perhaps the AirTouch representative concerning cell phone records, and there are a couple of other miscellaneous witnesses that I have to solidify, and then hair and trace. So that's roughly the scenario. There are certain things, obviously, from what the court has heard that we have to solidify, and I think that I'll be able to do that by the end of the day. I would ask the court to order in return for this revised witness order and list that the defense be required to turn over the discovery that we have been requesting for months now. We have no expert reports. We have no valid witness statements. We had these little notes scribbled that are basically hieroglyphics. And we are asking the court to order the defense to comply in spirit and not just in form with 1054 and the court's discovery orders, because we have received nothing in response to the court's orders.
We have that scheduled for hearing.
Thank you.
All right, so my understanding is gloves, shoes, DNA,
Or shoes, gloves, Your Honor. That's, yeah.
cellular phone, and then hair and fiber.
Yes. Now, the witnesses, I told you there were some that we have to solidify regarding domestic violence, and we're not sure which or how many exactly what we're going to call, but the court knows which ones they are potentially, and so does the defense. And we have to firm up exactly which ones those would be. So that
What
remains
do
to be
you-
seen. It won't take very long.
Just scheduling-wise, where do you anticipate putting those, before or after DNA, before or after the cell phone records?
Around the cell phone records, before or after the cell phone records. That's the feeling. And there are 4 or 5 of those witnesses, but they're brief. So.
Yeah. Okay.
The last thing, Your Honor, is I presume that what Ms. Clark has just indicated will be solidified, she said, by the end of the day, and we would like to be able to go with that, and we'll rely upon that. The other thing is we would like to make sure we have all the discovery also for these upcoming witnesses. We're concerned about whether or not we have all the discovery for Boziak, and certainly with regard to any information on the gloves. We want to make sure and make that request again that we have all of the discovery. So again, there's no delay.
All right. Ms. Clark?
They have everything we have. We can't give them what we don't have. As soon as we have more, if we ever do, they'll have it. And without any delay at all, because everyone is interested in the expeditious end to this trial. And so there will be literally, within the time frame that we learn that we have a witness we are going to call, there will be minutes before we're on the phone to counsel. I can promise you that.
All right, because as soon as we finish with the coroner's testimony, I'd like to take a 5-minute recess and then launch into the next witness.
Sounds good.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right. All right, let's have the jurors, Deputy McNair. I'm sorry. Oh, I'm sorry, Mr. Kelberg.
Your Honor, for the record, before court began, I provided the court with 3 photographs and advised Mr. Shapiro as well. And I asked for a motion in limine to be heard at this time regarding the use of these 3 photographs with Dr. Lakshman's testimony. The circumstances arose as a result of Dr. Lakshman's testimony yesterday concerning a difference of opinion he holds regarding incised wounds 1 and 2 from photograph G37 and the time at which those wounds were inflicted.
Yo, how about that weather we're having?
Opinion that those wounds represent control holds that were inflicted early on in the circumstances between the assailant and Mr. Goldman. Dr. Goldman's testimony, which was read to Dr. Lakshman in front of the jury, suggested in Dr. Goldman's opinion those wounds appeared to be inflicted closer to the time of death due to the absence of hemorrhage. In the course of Dr. Lakshman's testimony explaining a basis for his opinion that those wounds were in fact early on as control wounds, he referred to review of certain crime scene photographs. Those crime scene photographs have not been marked nor offered at any phase of the proceeding, to my knowledge, certainly not by me. They were not part of our photographic motion that the court reviewed concerning autopsy photographs, and I believe a total of approximately 5 crime scene photographs. The 3 photographs that I provided to the court, only 2 of which we were offering, Your Honor. One has a glove covering the eye and upper face area of Mr. Goldman. That is one of the 2 we would offer.
What do you need to offer this for?
It is for the appearance of the 2 superficial incised wounds. They show
How
hemorrhage in the
unprofessional
crime scene photograph,
to be
which is the
muted.
basis for Dr.
That's
Lakshman's opinion
ridiculous.
that these are ante-mortem early in the relationship between the assailant and Mr. Goldman as to when they were inflicted. I will be the first to acknowledge to this court they are nasty photographs to look at, primarily because of the blood that is surrounding the face and neck of Mr. Goldman. But it is extremely important, Your Honor, extremely important, where especially there is a difference of opinion between the 2 forensic pathologists, one of whom the defense has indicated yesterday they intend to call, that this jury have the best available evidence on which to make a determination. Is Dr. Golden correct when he formed the view that they were inflicted at or near the time of death, or is Dr. Lakshman correct in his view that they were inflicted early on before death as ante-mortem wounds? And unfortunately, Your Honor, there's just no easy way for people to be presented with this evidence, but this is very probative. Of course, the aspect of whether they are control wounds inflicted early on goes to the issue of premeditation and deliberation and all the other circumstances that we posed before. But as I said, I'd be the first to acknowledge that they are not pleasant photographs to look at, even in the scheme of a series of photographs, which the court has candidly acknowledged are unpleasant to look at. I think to some degree this jury is at least steeled to this type of photograph. And it would be my suggestion, I am not anticipating if the court allows me to use the 2 photographs we propose to have them presented at close range to the jurors. I would rather have Dr. Lakshman refer to them, perhaps even while seated at the witness stand, as the basis for part of his opinion that those 2 incised wounds were inflicted early on, and then have them available for the jury's consideration. I will not have them put up even on the boards. I will not have them even displayed to the jury at this phase, but rather to have them available as evidence at the end for the jury's consideration. But for Dr. Lakshman to say, gee, I reviewed some crime scene photos, they were informative to me because they showed hemorrhage and so forth, and that's the basis of my opinion, the jury has no basis on which to judge his interpretation because they would not have the photographs if the court found that the prejudicial impact substantially outweigh the probative value. I believe these are substantially probative on this important issue where there may be a conflict between the opinions and where these photographs help to give the jury a legitimate basis on which to determine who is correct in their opinion, Dr. Golden or Dr. Lakshmanan.
Have you shown these to Mr. Shapiro?
Mr. Shapiro, I'm sure, has seen them, not today, so he may not know which ones they are. I'd be glad to show them to him now and do whatever the court wishes.
All right, Mr. Shapiro, are you familiar with these 3 photographs?
Yes, sir. So I will submit it on that matter, on that basis.
Don't you feel we should at least crop some of these?
Your Honor, I have no problem with cropping to basically just leave the neck area that will show in context the complete neck area that's shown in the photographs. That in and of itself will narrow but not eliminate the unpleasant nature of the photograph. But again, I have to go back to Justice Gardner's observation. These ladies and gentlemen of the jury do not come from an insular world where matters of this nature are completely foreign, and certainly after 6 days of testimony involving, to some degree, very difficult photographs to look at, I believe they have, at least to some degree, as I use the word steel, become more comfortable is not an accurate way of describing it, but steeled to what they are going to look at. And I believe they do understand that these are being presented to them for their informational value. And if the court would like them cropped, I have no problem cropping them to expose basically the neck area and eliminate everything else, because I anticipate a foundation will be laid by another witness to show that they fairly and accurately show the condition of Mr. Golden's neck at the time the bodies were examined at the scene on Monday, on June 13, 1994.
I suggest that we mark these for identification purposes, if nothing else at this point.
Certainly, Your Honor. These go with what I believe is our board 358. So may I suggest they be marked respectively 358A and B. If I could have the third photograph back, I'm really not offering it. It was just used to give the court a context to compare 2 alternative photographs. Do you want me to take 2 and then remove the one?
I don't know which one you marked. You want marked as which?
Do you want me to do it up here for the court?
Please.
Your Honor, on the back of the first photograph, I'm writing 358A.
I'm watching the monitor.
And on the second photograph, I'm writing at the bottom 358B. And if I may, Your Honor, I would take back that third
Withdraw.
photograph, which I do not intend to offer.
All right. All right, Mr. Shapiro. Good morning, counsel.
Good morning, Your Honor. Your Honor, we would strenuously object to these photographs, as we have strenuously objected to all the photographs. We believe that the prosecution has presented a scenario to allow these photographs in and then withdrawn from that scenario once the court admitted the photographs. The prosecution told you during the arguments that these photographs would be necessary because there would be a conflict in the testimony between Dr. Lakshmanan and Dr. Golden, and they would be necessary for Dr. Lakshmanan to point out the errors that Dr. Golden made. Now, after all the photographs have been entered, they have withdrawn Dr. Golden as a witness and relying only on Dr. Lakshmanan, who did not in any way participate in these autopsies. Therefore, what they have done is they have created their own issue that allowed these horrendous photographs to be displayed before the jury, and then said that is no longer an issue because they're not going to be offering testimony from Dr. Golden. What they have done, Your Honor, is deliberately presented to this jury the most horrendous and horrifying photographs that one could imagine, with only a desire to inflame the passions and prejudices of the jury and anyone who would look at these photographs. And clearly, the court saw that was the case when you had to declare a recess last week, when several members of this jury could not look at those photographs any longer and reported illness upon looking at those photographs. Those photographs now have no value whatsoever. Dr. Lakshmanan's opinion of what took place need not be based on repeated gory photographs. Initially, the only reason that they were going to be allowed was he was going to say, well, Dr. Golden looked at this injury and he's going to testify as to what that injury is, and my opinion is different than his. And he is wrong, and we are going to sacrifice Dr. Golden and his professional reputation because his theory doesn't fit the prosecution's theory of this case. And now you are in a position where you've admitted these photographs. They want more to be admitted with no purpose whatsoever, since Dr. Golden won't be a witness. We would strenuously object, and we believe that there should be sanctions against the people for presenting a theory to Your Honor for entering the photographs, and then after they were entered, withdrawing from that theory.
Am I missing something huge here? The murder photographs are the problem? It's a murder trial. So, wouldn't wouldn't photographs be important in a murder trial of the murder? Aren't they like the most important piece of evidence that someone actually died? It's a murder. This is a murder trial. So, don't you have to prove someone was murdered and how they were murdered? Isn't the picture gonna tell you like most of the story? Why in the world wouldn't the jury see the photographs of the murders? If it was a burglary and they had pictures of, the drawer being empty, they would show the picture. The drawer being empty. I mean, if someone punched me in the face and I took them to court, I would take a picture of my broken eye. I don't get it. I don't understand. It's a murder trial. Yes, they're going to show the pictures of the murdered people. Sort of the whole thing.
Mr.
May I
Gilbert?
briefly respond, Your Honor? I'm always impressed with Mr. Shapiro's hyperbole. I find that the more hyperbole counsel uses, the more probative and the more relevant and the more success this evidence is having in establishing for this jury a true understanding of the circumstances. The record will clearly reflect, and I know the court remembers it quite accurately, that in offering these photographs, we have made it clear that it's not a question of whether Dr. Golden testifies or not. It is an issue that Dr. Golden made a lot of mistakes, and these photographs will help this jury, as they have, I'm sure, helped Dr. Wolf and Dr. Bodden, who have to go through the very
This
same process
coffee is
Dr. Lakshmanan
delicious.
has gone through. I hope they
Cuban.
spent the same amount of
So
time
good.
that Dr. Lakshmanan has, because if they are called to testify, they'll be questioned by me quite extensively, that these photographs are the best record to show what in fact happened. And with a qualified forensic pathologist like Dr. Lakshmanan to give the jury an understanding of the significance of the findings seen in the photographs and the autopsy material, and also to understand what, if any, significance flows from Dr. Golden's mistake. Because Dr. Golden's mistakes are mistakes whether Dr. Golden testifies or not. And I do find it somewhat disingenuous for the defense to be claiming that these photographs are irrelevant because of a claimed, quote, conflict in testimony which is not being presented, when of course that's not what we told the court. And then counsel stands up yesterday and says, in essence, Dr. Golden's going to be one of our first witnesses. Well, let's give the jury the truth. And let's cut the hyperbole down to a minimum if we possibly can. And let's talk about what Dr. Lakshmanan said yesterday. Mr. Shapiro didn't mention one whit of what the testimony from Dr. Lakshmanan was yesterday. Mr. Shapiro never objected when the testimony given by Dr. Golden, I believe at the grand jury, concerning his interpretation of those two superficial incised wounds was provided to the jury and for Dr. Lakshmanan to comment on as another mistake. In his opinion, Dr. Lakshmanan's, Dr. Golden's opinion on those wounds, that's a mistake.
So what does it tell us
It
to
tells
see
us
the
from-
fact,
I'm sorry.
to see the hemorrhage in these two incised wounds? What does
It
that tell
tells
us?
us, as I have talked with Dr. Lakshmanan, that by seeing that hemorrhage, those superficial incised wounds bearing the same general appearance from the standpoint of hemorrhage as the major stab wound, which is to the left side of the neck, which is a fatal wound to the jugular vein, were inflicted ante-mortem, before death, and would be consistent with Dr. Lakshmanan's opinion that they are in fact control wounds when the perpetrator was threatening or taunting, Mr. Goldman, following which it's clear that Mr. Goldman, realizing the very dangerous and life-threatening situation he was in, attempted to save his life, and for which there's been much testimony. There will be much more testimony concerning his injuries that ultimately resulted in his death. But Mr. Shapiro never mentions any of that aspect in responding to our comments. He doesn't mention the substantive value of seeing those wounds with their hemorrhage before the bodies are washed at the Forensic Science Center, and the washing, as the court will recall, is for the specific purpose of getting rid of the bloody appearance so that the wound can be carefully examined by the forensic pathologist.
But how do I know that the blood that is apparent here is blood from the wound itself or blood from the jugular vein wound,
I-
given the proximity?
I believe, and I can only make an offer of proof, and perhaps the court might want to have Dr. Lakshmanan briefly get on the witness stand, and I can do a very quick 402 examination regarding what he observes in those photos regarding those two wounds and the significance, if any, to him. Or I can make an offer of proof, whichever the court prefers.
Let's assume that there is a dispute whether or not the age of those wounds. What is the real probative value of it one way or the other?
If, in fact, those are ante-mortem wounds and support Dr. Lakshmanan's opinion that they are control wounds, which would be in conformity with, as the court will recall, the demonstration where Mr. Goldman is being restrained from behind by the perpetrator who is taunting him with the knife in front of his neck and drawing the knife across to create those superficial incised wounds, that is a reflection of premeditation and deliberation. That control and those threatening type wounds, rather than at the end, which I must suggest makes no sense logically, if all hell breaks loose, for lack of a better term, in a struggle between Mr. Goldman and the perpetrator, it makes no sense logically that a perpetrator who's engaged in inflicting all the defensive wounds and in inflicting fatal stab wounds to the abdomen and the chest and the left side of the neck is then going to, at some point while Mr. Goldman is disabled from moving, because you need that, carefully draw parallel superficial incised wounds along the neck. I mean, logically, I would suggest to the jury, if I were arguing this case, that that would make no sense whatsoever and would be another reason why Dr. Goldman's opinion would not make sense, would not stand the scrutiny of scientific investigation. But from the standpoint of medical evidence,
Mr.
besides
Calvert,
logic,
isn't the real issue here, what was the cause of death? And is it possible for one person to have committed both of these killings? Isn't that the bottom line here? And what does this tell me about that?
it's part of the bottom line. One person committing, yes, the fact that these are controlled superficial incised wounds at the beginning with the taunting and so forth, I think does reflect that it's a single killer who has knocked Nicole Brown Simpson into a dazed or potentially even unconscious state from a concussion, as the court will recall, to the contusion to the head, and now is dealing with Mr. Goldman. And dealing with Mr. Goldman with a threatening, taunting, control-type series 2 superficial incised wounds, and going to the issue of premeditation and deliberation. But those are not the only issues in this case. It's not just cause and whether one perpetrator did these things, because premeditation and deliberation is built along a process that is not necessarily related to the number of people involved, but actually to the manner of the killing itself. And cause of death, as the court knows, is a narrow area dealing with the manner in which a murder takes place. And this is a matter that deals more with the manner than with the cause. I don't think anybody disputes the cause. I mean, everybody knows these two people bled to death from sharp force injuries. But if that were the only issue, I wouldn't be here. And I wouldn't have taken up 6 days or 7 days of this court's time, the jury's time, defense counsel's time. We're here because there's a lot more to this than cause of death and this concept of one perpetrator.
All right. Thank you, counsel.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Your Honor, this appears to be an unprecedented marathon to present evidence that is readily susceptible of reading from a crystal ball. And we spent 7 days. The people want to spend 2 more days to criticize what they say is a search for the truth, and that is there is not one medical examiner or forensic pathologist in the world who would tell you that you are better off looking at photographs to come to an opinion than you are at doing an actual autopsy and looking for evidence. The people love to continue to talk and press and go into minutia and details that most people who are looking at this case are mystified by. And I think it's time for Your Honor to step in and say the jury has enough evidence on the real issues at hand, limit the issues, limit the testimony, and let's, if the real intent is to move this case on and to get at the truth, get at the truth. And that would be by calling the person who did the autopsy, not by somebody who is trying to now look to the past in some mystifying way and reconstruct in their mind what might have happened. It is pure guesswork at its best. Thank you.
Just briefly, if I might, Your Honor.
No, I think I've heard enough. All right, court will sustain the objection to 358A. I'll overrule the objection to 358B. I'll direct that it be cropped to depict only the area between the gloved hands.
All right, Your Honor, if I could get scissors, in fact, actually, I think we have scissors. Can I give the court the scissors and the court property in the hand? And Your Honor, may I ask that the two dismembered portions of the photograph be kept, however, as part of the exhibit in the event of a conviction and a review on appeal, so that the court will understand, court of appeal, that is, the discretion exercised by this court in excising those two portions.
I've stapled them together.
Thank you,
And
Your Honor.
Mr.
May I, approach to obtain that one photograph?
You may.
And Your Honor, this one is not marked because the portion that the court excised had the writing. May I mark this as 358B? Yes, you may.
All right, Deputy Mayor, let's have the jury, please. All right, let the record reflect we've been rejoined by all the members of our jury panel. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. All right, Dr. Lakshmanan, would you please resume the witness stand? Good morning, Doctor.
Morning, Your Honor.
I'm reminded, sir, that you are still under oath, and Mr. Kelberg, you may conclude your direct examination.
I take the not very subtle hint,
Thank you.
but I assume I have at least
Reasonable
perhaps
time.
all day. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. And good morning, Doctor. Doctor, I want to cover just a couple of areas that we touched upon yesterday. The first area dealing with a difference of opinion you hold from that of Dr. Golden concerning the time when those two superficial incised wounds, injuries numbers 1 and 2 of photograph G37 were received by Mr. Goldman. Do you recall that testimony yesterday?
Yes.
And you testified, as I recall, that you had reviewed certain crime scene photographs which caused you to believe that those superficial incised wounds were received early on and were part of control wounds inflicted by a taunting or threatening perpetrator on Mr. Goldman. Is that correct?
Yes.
And that Dr. Golden, in his testimony in front of the grand jury, had indicated his opinion that those wounds appeared to be inflicted closer to the time of death due to the absence of hemorrhage. Is that correct?
Yes. But I supported my opinion with the statements he made in his autopsy report, which indicates that there is hemorrhage in the soft tissues underlying these wounds, which would indicate that there was blood pressure present when these wounds were inflicted. And that is why I opined that they were antemortem wounds, and I also gave an opinion that they are consistent with being controlled wounds, which could have happened during earlier part of the struggle, which is what I feel happened.
And Doctor, from what you just said, did you feel that there was an inconsistency between the material that had been included by Dr. Golden in his protocol regarding this hemorrhage that he observed and included in his description, and yet his opinion being that these were wounds that were inflicted at or about the time of death rather than before death?
That is correct.
Your Honor, for the record, perhaps in front of the ladies and gentlemen of the jury, may I ask that this photograph, that is a small rectangular shaped photograph, be marked as 358B as in boy?
So marked.
Doctor, let me show you photograph 358B. Did you review among crime scene photographs this photograph in an uncropped fashion?
Yes.
In other words, you saw the full photograph, and this has been cropped, as you understand, pursuant to the order of Judge Ito.
Yes.
Is there something of significance shown in that photograph on the issue of when those two superficial incise wounds were received in relation to when Mr. Goldman died?
Yes, the appearance of the wounds itself, the coloration, taken in conjunction with the descriptive report which we have in the autopsy, supports the opinion that these are antemortem wounds, because there is, you can see the hemorrhage in the tissues, in the margins, and also underlying the superficial areas of the cut. You see there are areas of the cut which are deeper than the areas of the cut which are not so deep. And in the not so deep areas, you can clearly see the discoloration which you get with hemorrhage underlying the tissue, which has been confirmed in the autopsy report of Dr. Golden when he did the autopsy. So this photograph, especially, you can see it very clearly in the upper wound and also in portions of the lower wound on the right side of the photograph. And I have no doubt that these are antemortem wounds based on the description of the autopsy report and the appearance of these photographs, the way they are presented to me.
Another matter, Doctor, just to finish up before we go back to the hand
Good luck,
area.
Tonya. I hope he gets home soon. You've had enough.
Let me put up board 4G from our collection from 357, I believe, and invite your attention, and with the court's permission, could the doctor step down again, please? Yes. And if I can find the markers. I want to invite your attention, Doctor. There's an area I noticed that has not been circled or addressed in some fashion by us. Do you recognize what's written in this area? This is Roman numeral 2 form of number 22.
Yes, this refers to the cut of the ear and the length of the wound as 6 inches, and this is the sharp force injury, and it says if ear involved. This refers to this wound on the left side of the neck, which in Dr. Golden's original autopsy report indicated that if this left neck wound exited behind the left ear and also cut the left ear, the total length of that wound would be 6 inches. That's what this refers to.
Doctor, in essence, is this referring to what you described as injury number 1 of G51, this fatal sharp force injury stab wound, injury number 2 of G51, the somewhat linear in appearance wound behind the ear running down the neck, and injury number 4 of G51, a nick to the area you called the pinna, P-I-N-N-A, of the ear?
Yes.
And so the overall length, according to Dr. Golden, if you assume that was all one injury with the neck going, I'm sorry, the knife going in the injury number 1 area, coming out the area of injury number 2, and then nicking the ear in the process, would be 6 inches?
Yes.
Your Honor, for the record, on this form, let me circle this area of information, and I'll write G-51 INJ numbers 1, 2, and 4. Doctor, I'd like to get back to a discussion then of the hand injuries and see if we can go through and have you identify where in the protocol, if at all, any of them are described, and to deal with the diagrams and the addendum. And Your Honor, for the record, with Mr. Fairlow's assistance, we've been able to append a flap. I'm not sure we may have to have it held. We've appended a flap which includes then the photograph that was described as G34. And let me write G34, incidentally, on the board underneath the photograph. And also, we have appended, with apparently some kind of photo mount, the photograph that was G25, which I don't know that I have a marker. I think we can take care of it at a later time so that it'll be identified, but for the record, we'll do that.
I think there's already an evidence tag below it there.
There is. Unfortunately, it doesn't say that it's G25,
Correct.
and it's referred to that
Proceed.
course of testimony. And also, with Mr. Lynch's help, if we could set up the 2 easels. dealing with 0G, 10G, and the diagram, no, Mr. Lynch, I'm going to ask that the addendum just be kept down here, if we could, please. And I'll ask you to put up, this is our board 5G. It appears to have a series of forms outlining the hand. Again, all from Exhibit 357, Your Honor.
All right.
Doctor, again, with the court's permission, can you step down? And yesterday, we did not get into the specifics of where each of these injuries are, if they're described, et cetera. So I'd like to do that now.
Your Honor.
Yes.
Let's start, if we could, going photograph by photograph, Doctor. I believe you started yesterday with photograph G35.
Okay.
Is that correct?
Yes.
Let's take those injuries,
Get me some
go
gas
through the
while you're
process
there,
of the
please.
protocol, the diagram, the addendum.
Yes. G35 shows a 5/8 inch cut in the web between the index and middle finger of the right hand on the palmar aspect.
Is that designated arbitrarily by you as injury number 1?
Yes.
And is that described by Dr. Golden?
Yes.
Is it diagrammed by Dr. Golden?
Yes.
Is it addressed in the addendum?
No.
Any reason he should have?
No need to.
All right, how about injury number 2 in that photograph?
That is present in the palmar aspect of the hand, on the right hand near the base of the thumb, and it measures, it's a Y-shaped wound, and it's addressed in the protocol, it's addressed in the diagram. It was accurately defined in the reports, and there was no addendum report prepared.
Keep your voice up if you would, please, Doctor. As I recall, you said those were the only 2 injuries you observed in photograph G35?
Yes.
And is it accurate to say that the injury that's seen in photograph G34 is injury number 1 that you've discussed in G35?
That is correct. The only reason the wound looks a little more gaping and bigger is because the index finger and the middle finger have been pried open so that the wound can be better visualized.
Doctor, where in the protocol are injuries 1 and 2 described?
Page 11, 1 and 2. Number 1 and 2.
Under sharp force injuries of hands?
Yes.
Which is injury number 1?
This is the, on page 11, number 1 is the injury number 1, and page 11, number 2 is injury number 2.
And Your Honor, I'm going to outline in blue each of those right at the side. G35, INJ, I'm sorry, is it 35? Yes, INJ number 1. And the other one I'll outline in blue, and that is going to be G-35, INJ number 2. And I will also, for the G35 number 1, write semicolon G and G-34. And a line underneath that to separate. Is that accurate, Doctor?
Yes.
Doctor, are those descriptions, in your opinion, that are provided by Dr. Golden accurate on those 2 injuries?
Yes.
Now, where are they diagrammed, if at all?
The diagram is 23-3.
So if we could ask Mr. Lynch to get us to that.
The right lower quadrant, you can see both the injuries. It says cutting incised wound, length 3/4 inch, half an inch deep, skin sub-Q. And this one is a Y-shaped wound, depth is 1/4 inch, and half an inch dimensions.
Doctor, you have to keep your voice up if you would, please. Let's break it down. Injury number 1. First of all, just circle the area, if you would, please, that's covered by that. And for the record, Your Honor, I'll circle that same area in blue. On that area, the lower right quadrant, I'll write G-35 INJ number 1 and G-34. And Doctor, is that handwritten entry that you just read basically the same as what appears in the dictation?
Yes.
Now, the second injury is outlined in what area?
The same diagram of the right hand. This whole area here is injury number 2.
And Doctor, is this
Oh, I hope he
little
outlined something else.
inverted Y, what appears to be an
Can't wait.
inverted Y, of some significance to you?
Well, it shows the appearance of the wound as you see it in the photograph.
Is that a diagram that was made by Dr. Golden in the course of the autopsy?
Yes.
And where you circled that area, let me do the same with the blue. And I'll write down at the bottom, G-35 INJ number 2. Doctor, there appears to be some writing to the left of the schematic and some lines that run from that writing. What is that?
It just says there are 2 defense wounds.
And do you agree with Dr. Golden's assessment that injuries 1 and 2 are in fact defense wounds,
Yes.
as you testified yesterday?
Yes.
Let me just circle that and in blue, and I'll put a line running to each of the 2 areas that we previously just circled. All right, Doctor, are we done with injuries 1 and 2 of G35?
Yes, we have.
All right, let's go back then if we could. I believe the next photograph you looked at was G32, is that correct?
Yes.
How many injuries do you identify in there?
I identified 12.
All right, let's try and take them individually and cover protocols, diagrams, addendums as we go, so that we don't, at least I don't get lost. Let's start with what you have arbitrarily numbered injury number 1.
Injury number 1 is is an abrasion to the ulnar aspect of the right wrist here. You can see it
Voice
right,
up, please, Doctor.
right here in the ulnar aspect of the right wrist.
Is that antemortem?
Yes,
Is that described in the protocol?
yes,
Is it diagrammed
yes,
and addressed in the addendum?
no,
Any reason to?
no.
Let's find out where in the protocol and which diagram.
Sorry. Page 11 and 12, number 1.
Under other injuries to hands and upper extremities?
Yes.
We're on page 11 again of board 0G. Let me outline that. And I'm going to write G-32, INJ number 1, and see if we can flip the page. And it ends before the number 2?
Yes.
All right, let me outline that again, and I'll write the same information, G-32, INJ number 1. Doctor, is Dr. Golden's description in his protocol accurate, in your opinion, of that particular abrasion?
Yes.
Where is it diagrammed, if at all?
It's diagrammed on 21-1.
And Mr. Lynch's? All right, Doctor, would you identify where on that particular item, and I'll get the board number designation when we pull it down, Your Honor.
Right here, it's diagrammed as 3/4 inch by 1/2 inch ulnar red-brown non-patterned abrasion, right? This injury, right? The whole injury.
And is there some designation on the form of the body as to its location?
Yes, ulnar.
I'm sorry, is there an actual diagram on some part of the body to show what it is that Dr. Golden is referring to?
Here.
And where there appears to be a, almost a circular, heavy black outlined area?
Yes.
For the record, Your Honor, then I'll circle this area on 21-1 and write G-32, INJ number 1.
And actually, this also would belong to the same injury because it's in the distal forearm wrist area.
What do those words say? that
Distal
you're-
forearm.
And so all of that goes with this injury number 1?
Yes. Yes.
All right, I'll circle that, and I'll connect these two areas with a solid blue line. Anywhere else that's diagrammed, Doctor?
No.
Let me take this board down. That is 3G, Your Honor. Are we done basically then with injury number 2, injury number 1 of G32?
Yes.
All right, let's go back and see what injury number 2 is.
Injury number 2 is a 5/16 inch by 1/16 inch abrasion over the back of the right wrist. I'm pointing to it right here.
Is that addressed in the protocol?
No.
Is it diagrammed?
Yes, it's been diagrammed.
And is it addressed in the addendum?
No.
Which diagram, Doctor?
The same diagram, 23-3.
And you're pointing in the upper right quadrant to an area. Is there some writing that you associate with that entry?
Yes, it says 1/2 inch superficial. I can't read this word. Could be VR.
Keep your voice up, please.
I can't read this particular letter here, but this is superficial and 1/2 inch. And this injury is referring to.
I can't read this
And
word.
the doctor has just outlined with the point, Your Honor. I'll circle that in blue and write G-32, INJ number 2. Doctor, in your opinion, was it a mistake for Dr. Golden not to include a description of that injury in his protocol?
Well, yes.
Is it of any significance to you?
No.
For the same reasons?
Yes.
And is there any reason he should have addressed it in the addendum, given that he did not describe it in the protocol?
He could have, but he didn't.
Is that a mistake?
Yes.
Any significance?
No.
Same reasons?
Yes.
Anything more about injury number 2?
Nothing more.
Let's go to injury number 3.
Injury number 3 is a 3/4 inch by 1 inch contusion to the right hand knuckle at the base of the middle finger here. And you can see it.
Is that addressed in the original protocol?
Yes, it is.
Is it diagrammed?
Yes, it is.
Is there any area of the addendum to which it is addressed?
No,
Any reason it should have been?
not necessary.
Before we go to that, Doctor, just one follow-up on this. You testified yesterday that it was of significance to you that the only, in deciding whether or not Mr. Goldman's hand had been closed into a fist and delivering a blow, that the only contusion you saw without a punctate abrasion center over the contusion was to that knuckle, is that correct?
Yes.
Can you point out which other knuckles you would have expected to see a contusion if, in fact, Mr. Goldman had delivered a direct blow to the face, for example, of the perpetrator?
Yeah.
Objection, call for speculation.
Sustained, rephrase the question.
Doctor, you indicated that you had reviewed, among other material, literature from a sports medicine publication on boxing injuries, is that correct?
Yes, I did.
And have you also, as part of your training and experience, studied blunt force trauma injuries received to hands of people who have struck faces of other individuals?
Yes, I have.
From that, have you formed opinions as to the kind of injuries in the form of blunt force trauma contusions one expects to see when a fisted hand delivers a direct blow to the face of another human being?
Yes.
In your opinion, why, let me draw that phrase, frame of the question and frame it this way, point out where you would have expected to see additional areas of contusion, if any, had Mr. Goldman's hand been closed into a fist, delivering a direct blow to the face of the perpetrator.
I would expect to see contusion in the adjoining knuckles and also the adjoining portion of the phalanges, which we don't see here. We only see localized to one knuckle here. And the other issue is also that the other injuries in the other fingers show to be abrasion contusions. So the only pure contusion is to one knuckle, which seems rather unusual. If it was a closed fist which delivered a direct blow to a person, I would expect to see more injuries to the other knuckles, especially the fourth and fifth knuckles and the adjoining proximal phalanges. See, after all, the closed fist is like this, and if somebody is going to give you a direct blow, you would expect to see injury on this knuckle, adjoining knuckles, and adjoining phalanges. And this particular hand only shows a bruise to a knuckle without any abrasion on it. And of course, the other injuries show abrasion contusions, which do not follow the pattern you see in such a scenario.
You don't expect to see the abrasion on top of the contusion from a blunt force trauma from a fist to the face of another human being?
That's correct.
And that, I think you indicated, is part of the basis of your opinion as to why you believe it was from a flailing into some of the tree and surrounding areas where Mr. Goldman's body was found?
That is correct. And I also indicated yesterday that the lack of sharp force injuries to the back of the hands favor that opinion, because the sharp force injuries, as we discussed, are at the front of the hands. And further, there are no other sharp force injuries which I could see in the forearms either.
Doctor, let's go to the protocol. Where is injury number 3, that contusion, addressed?
It's addressed on page 12, number 3.
We're on page 12.
Number 3, second sentence. On the proximal knuckle of the right middle finger is a 1 inch by 3/4 inch bruise with no overlying abrasion.
Is that the extent of the description?
Yes.
Let me outline that then on board 0G. And I'll write to the side G-32 INJ number 3. Is that an accurate description, Doctor?
Yes, and it's here on 23-3, right here, same knuckle, fresh bruise, 1 inch by 3/4 inch, and you can circle it.
You've outlined it with your pointer. Let me ask before I circle it. There appears to be a circled area with some squiggly lines inside the circle and a line running horizontally to the outside of this handwritten entry. What is this circled area with the wavy lines to reflect?
It is diagrammatically depicting the injury which you see in the photograph and which has been dictated as such on the protocol, and that's the measurement there.
All right, let me outline that then. In the upper right quadrant of board 20, with the board 23-3, and I'll write out at the side, G-32 INJ number 3. Anything else regarding this injury, Doctor?
No.
Let's go to injury number 4.
Injury number 4 is 132-inch punctate abrasion in the base of the right index, which is a small one right here.
So this is on the index finger at the base?
Yes.
Is that addressed in the protocol?
No.
Is it diagrammed anywhere?
No.
Is it addressed in the addendum?
No.
And I think we're going to lose our easel for just a second if we could have a moment, Your Honor. Doctor, in your judgment, all mistakes by Dr. Golden not to have described, diagrammed, or addressed in the addendum?
Yes.
Individually or collectively, of any significance to you on the big ticket issues?
No.
Same reasons?
Yes.
All right, let's go to injury number 5.
Injury number 5 is a linear diagonally running abrasion, half an inch to the back of the right index, next to the small abrasion I just described. It's on the back of the right index here.
So we're working our way along the length of the first finger towards the nail area, is that correct?
That is correct.
All right, is that linear abrasion addressed in the protocol?
Yes, same page 12, fourth sentence here. On the, it says there's a linear diagonally oriented half-inch reddish brown abrasion.
Doctor, is that whole sentence to refer to that particular injury number 5?
Yes, it also includes the bruising you see there near the, on the proximal interphalangeal joint.
Doctor, do you identify that bruising as a separate injury, or is that, in your opinion, a part of injury number 5?
I described it as a separate injury, but it could have been part of the same force which caused that other injury there.
All right, well, as long as we're here, is the next injury by your numbering system, injury number 6, what is described here as the fresh bruise?
Yes.
So if I outline this entire sentence, would it be accurate to say that this concerns G-32, INJ numbers 5 and 6? Is that correct?
It would be that's correct. Just one second. Yes, fourth sentence, yeah, 1, 2, yeah, fourth sentence, yes.
Keep your voice up,
Yes.
please, Doctor. Now, is either injury 5 or 6 diagram?
So right here,
And where, is there an area where it's actually drawn in some fashion on the schematic?
you can see it being drawn in right here, and the index finger here as a linear thing, and then you have the bruise next to it.
And is there any written description provided by Dr. Golden for that particular, this would be injuries 5 and 6?
Yes, you have a line going from there, and this is the description for that.
What is written by Dr. Golden there?
Just half an inch by half an inch reddish brown abrasion and fresh bruise. And then he's also diagrammed the abrasion here, length half an inch separately, which corresponds to this. So actually, the description for this injury would include this handwriting here and this handwriting there.
Would it be accurate to say, Doctor, that this handwriting on the left of the first finger refers to what you've described as injury number 5, the abrasion?
Yes,
And what Dr. Golden has written as fresh bruise is referring to what you described as injury number 6?
yes.
For the record, I'll circle in red this entire area that Dr. Lakshmanan has just talked about on the upper right quadrant diagram of 23 Roman numeral 3. I'll write G-32 INJ numbers 5 and 6. Anything else in the way of a diagram for either of those two injuries, Doctor?
No.
Anything in the addendum on
No.
either? Why, I don't think you've actually shown us injury number 6. Why don't you do that?
It's here in the bruise on the index finger, proximal interphalangeal joint.
And again, this would be in keeping with a numbering system, if you will, where you're going along the length of the index finger, the first finger, excuse me, towards the nail. Is that correct?
Yes.
What's injury number 7 then?
It's a discolored area on the nail, which is a scraping, and it measures 3/8 of an inch in area, and I'm pointing to it here.
This, Doctor, again, a photo you reviewed, life-size photo for your purposes of measuring.
Yes.
Are you able to tell, Doctor, whether that injury occurred during the circumstances of this incident on Bundy on June 12th, or whether it occurred at some earlier time?
It's difficult to say when you have a nail injury because the nail injuries, unlike skin injuries, do not leave a reaction. So, and there was no hemorrhage which I could see, so I can't tell when that happened. But taking in conjunction with the other injuries, it probably could have happened at the same time, but I can't tell.
Doctor, does Dr. Golden address that nail injury in any fashion?
No, he does not.
Does he diagram it in any way?
No, he does not.
Does he address it in the addendum?
No, he does not.
Do you consider each of those to be a mistake,
Yes.
individually or collectively, of any significance to you?
No.
Why not?
Because as I told you, it has no bearing on the cause of death, my ability to discuss the sharp force injuries, what type of weapon, the bleeding patterns, or any of the other issues which I've addressed previously many times on the injuries.
How about injury number 8 then?
Injury number 8 is a 1/8 inch abrasion over a pink contusion just above the base of the right middle finger right here.
And is this one of these abrasion contusions you were referring to as being caused, in your opinion, from contact with a rough surface like the tree?
Yes.
Doctor, is this addressed in the original protocol?
Yes, it is.
Is it diagrammed?
Yes. But in the original protocol, he has addressed it as index finger, but actually it's a middle finger. He has diagrammed it correctly.
All right, let's see exactly what has been done here. Let's start with why don't we start with the diagram?
Okay.
Is it on the same form?
Yes, right here. You can see it as right here, the middle finger. You have you have an abrasion in the middle, which is 1/8 inch here, and you can see bruise 1/2 inch by 1/2 inch with abrasion. So this whole area reflects the injury number 8, which I just showed you in the photograph there.
Doctor, has Dr. Golden specifically drawn diagrammatically on the outline of the hand, and in particular the middle finger, to show that there is in fact an abrasion sitting in the middle of this contusion?
Yes, he has. Yes, very accurately described it. You can see the abrasion in the middle, which is dense compared to the rest of the injury here.
Where you just pointed for the area of the abrasion, I'm going to circle that in red, and then I'm going to circle the entire area that you just described in blue. And make a line going to the top of the diagram to write G-32. This is now injury number 8, Doctor?
Yes.
All right. Where is it described in the protocol?
It's actually on third sentence, and injury number 8 should be the middle finger, but just a error here with the index finger to index finger, says index finger here, but
All right. First of all, is this entire sentence to refer to what you've identified as injury number 8?
yes, up to the semicolon part.
All right. Let me outline that in red.
Yeah, I'm going to, but just not for court vibes.
And right to the right, G-32,
Gonna be for my other one.
number 8. And in your opinion, Doctor, the identification of the finger as the index finger is an error on the part of Dr. Golden?
Yes, if you dictated it as such, yes.
As it's drawn on the middle finger?
Yes.
And as you see it in the
This
photograph,
one, if you
is it the
can't
middle
read
finger?
it,
Yes.
Jenny, this is the
Let me
finger
circle,
he's talking
underline the
about.
word
This
index
one right
in
here,
blue
see it?
Within this area, and then I'll draw a line in red out to the side and write should be middle. See diagram. Doctor, is this mistake of indicating index rather than middle of any significance to you on the big ticket questions?
No.
Same reasons?
That's correct.
All right, are we done with injury number 8?
That's correct.
What's injury number 9?
Injury number 9 is a small,
If I could, just a moment, Your Honor.
It's funny you said that, Josh, because...
Injury number 9, please, Doctor.
injury number 9 is a small 1/8 inch abrasion,
Excuse
just
me, Dr. L.
a little bit
Listen,
away
just
from
'cause
the
you're a
injury I
doctor
just described on the middle.
doesn't mean you get to be rude to me. You speak when you're spoken to, sir. Sir. It's funny you said that, Josh, because I'm about, I don't know when, like this week sometime, I'm sure. I'm about to start hitting this channel hard with shorts. Just shorts. Not about not about any of the cases I show. Just high profile true crime shorts. I'm going to try to hit it hard. Yep. I'm sorry. I got to get back to work. We did make it 1 hour and 53 minutes before me majorly crashing this stream with other talk.
Finger, it's a little more distal.
Doctor, in looking at the diagram 23.3, you see it diagrammed by Dr. Golden?
Very accurately diagrammed as 1/8 inch abrasion here.
And he has written in some identification for that?
Yes, here, and he has drawn a line and shown it accurately. So yes,
Doctor, does he describe it in the protocol?
yes, he does, and that has been described accurately here. After the semicolon, which we just described, it says just distal to the middle phalanx, so the middle finger is a 1/8 inch nondescript abrasion.
Your Honor, what, first of all, on the diagram that Dr. Lakshmanan was outlining with the pointer, I'll circle in red. And I'll have a very short line reading G-32 INJ number 9, Doctor,
Yes,
and an arrow going through that outlined area. And then, Doctor, and Your Honor, for the record, I'll outline the rest
Zero.
of that sentence.
0 jurors are going to look at the picture and go to the notes, and zero of them are going to do that. I don't. No wonder he was set free. This is ridiculous.
And put a line out to the side, G-32 INJ number 9. Anything further on that injury, Doctor?
No.
Let's go to injury number 10.
injury number 10 is a 1/8 inch abrasion overlaying a contusion near the middle of the ring finger here.
Doctor, is
jurors
this,
are probably
again,
like,
one of these
"He
abrasion
suffered enough
contusions, which in your opinion
listening to the
is due to
prosecution."
contact with a rough surface like the tree,
That is correct. That is my opinion.
and inconsistent with what kind of abrasion, I'm sorry, what kind of blunt force trauma you would expect from a blow from a closed fist of Mr. Goldman to the head or face of the perpetrator?
That's correct.
Is this addressed in the original protocol?
Yes, it is.
Is it diagrammed?
Yes, it is.
Is it addressed in the addendum?
No.
Any reason it should have been?
Did
No
OJ
necessity.
have any
Let's see
marks
where
on
it
his
is.
face? Or
It's,
head?
on page 12, paragraph, number 3, paragraph 2, here.
Is that entire paragraph to refer to that injury?
Yes.
All right, let me outline that.
Actually, it also includes injury number 11.
All right, let's stop with the part that is injury number 10. You tell me where it stops.
There's a half an inch by half inch bruise, the right ring finger, surrounding punctate abrasions, approximately 1/8 inch in maximal diameter.
Is that the part that completes injury number 10?
Yes.
Let me outline that in red. And I'll write it to the side on the left, G32 INJ number 10. While we're here then, what is the rest of that sentence refer to or paragraph?
That refers to the fifth finger, but he has included injury number 11, which we saw in our in my description, in the same sentence.
And injury number 11, as you identify it, is what?
Injury number 11 is a punctate abrasion, which is next to the injury number 10 in the photograph. You can see it here.
Doctor, would it be accurate to say that you see on that finger 2 punctate abrasions?
Yes.
And you see a contusion?
Yes.
And that you find that one of the punctate abrasions rests on the contusion?
Yes.
And collectively, is that what you describe as injury number 10?
I describe as injury number 10, and I describe the other abrasion as injury number 11.
So the second punctate abrasion you've identified as injury number 11?
Yes.
Then for the record, Your Honor, where Dr. Golden has written 2 punctate abrasions, I'm going to
That
box
checks
that
out,
in blue
Jimmy.
and write down below G-32 INJ numbers 10 and 11. Doctor, show us please on the diagram if there is
See,
an
I
entry
didn't
made by
even
Dr.
know
Golden.
that you
It's on 23- number 1.
made
You
a
got to turn the
typo.
page.
I read it correctly in my head, but then you pointed it out.
And I've turned the page to the first diagram.
It's
Now I know you
diagrammed
made
as
a
the ring
typo.
finger properly. It describes the
Now we're
bruise.
all sitting here
It
and
describes the
looking
2
at
abrasions, which are
Scrabble.
punctate 1/8 inch, and the whole area you can reflect that they represent injury 11 and 10 of photograph G32.
Let me outline that then. And as Dr. Golden actually diagrammed on this form the appearance of the punctate abrasion.
Yes, he has. You can see them here, one and the other one here on the bruise itself.
And in the area I circled, I'll write G-32 INJ number 10 and 11. Anything further about those 2 injuries, Doctor?
No.
Let's, I think you said there were 12 in this photograph, is that correct?
Yeah, 12 is the small abrasion to the ring, to the little finger here.
Is that
This is like
addressed in the protocol?
Way
Yes, it
worse
is,
than
and
jury
it's the
selection.
last sentence here on page 12, number 3, paragraph 3, last sentence.
All right, let me outline that in blue. And I'll write under this box, G-32, semicolon, INJ, number 12. Is this also diagrammed, Doctor?
Yes, it is. You can see it here. The same 23-3, 23-1. You can see it here.
And
1/16 inch abrasion.
I'm with you, Chinny. I have never wanted to fast
Doctor,
forward
is the
OJ
source or
so much.
sources of that
This is
abrasion
terrible.
consistent with
Torture.
the environmental surroundings you saw in those photographs?
Yes, I do.
Does that include the ground
Yes.
and the rough surface of the
I
tree?
have big plans today,
Let me
Josh.
circle that area
Moving my computer
in blue
upstairs.
on
We're going
the
to try
chart.
so hard to get it done.
And I'll write out
I just
beside
get so
G-32
tired.
INJ number 12. Doctor, in your opinion, has Dr. Golden, with respect to each of the injuries that you've seen in the photograph, G32, and which he describes in the protocol, with the exception of the wrong finger on the one injury,
That sounds
which
amazing.
is injury number 8, has he accurately described each of the injuries?
Yes.
And in your opinion, has he accurately diagrammed, as to those that he has diagrammed, all of the injuries you see in that photograph?
Yes, he has.
Is there anything further about that photograph and that series of 12 injuries? Your Honor, I'm not sure when the court wanted to take a break.
10:30.
Thank you. All right, Doctor, let's go. Then I believe we move next
No,
to G28,
no,
if I'm not
nope,
mistaken. Is
I
that correct?
can't. It's been 2
Yes,
hours.
yesterday that's what we did.
No.
And then
Stop. Let's just look, guys. Let's look. Hopefully it's easy to see. All right, he's still there. Oh, all right, that's new. June 15th, that's new. Oh, we got someone new. Okay, we are sure it's going to be... I have to see something. Oh, it doesn't say. 150-29. All right, here's where we are. This is 1 day, 2 days, but this is 2 days. 3, 4, 5. 5.5 more days, maybe 5. For this testimony. So if you guys wanna sleep, do your taxes, watch paint dry for the next 5 days, and just leave me here alone, I will understand. I won't even be mad at all. I'll be like, yes, I am glad they are playing with rocks instead of listening to this, because this is torture. Maybe 4.5 days, because we do speed it up. But then we move on to the next piece of torture. But isn't this guy a detective? This is not science. I think we're out of the science-y. I don't remember who this is. I'm trying so hard. Doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. All we know is we have 5 more days. But we'll be in the 300s. We will be in the 300s by Wednesday or so. Let's go. We are awesome. All right. Thanks for coming out. I really appreciate it. I will see you all. If Bill streams tonight, I'll see you tonight, unless I'm sleeping, which I will try not to be, because I want to see Bill. If he doesn't, I will see you in the morning. Have a great night, guys. Bye. More time to talk about everything except OJ. No, I like to show my middle finger, though, so I gotta stop this. Now I have to say goodbye again. Goodbye.